Hello all, I am Bibin Matthew from St. Thomas Engineering College, Chenganu. I welcome you for this session about the principles of management in last module leading and controlling. So in this last module contain leading and controlling, leading versus managing, trait approach and contingency approach to leadership, dimensions of leadership, leadership behavior and styles, transactional and transformational leadership. I am going to explain you the difference between leader and manager. So students, let's get started. A manager is an employee of the organization who is an in charge of the organization or any department, and he has a number of subordinates and who reports to him or her about the daily routine of the activities. Basically, a manager performs 5 basic functions. These are planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. The first one, planning. Planning is deciding in advance. It is the first and foremost activity to achieve the desired results. The second is organizing, which means organizing the activities, processes and the resources of the organization, as in assignment of the task, delegated the activities to subordinates. The third function, that is staffing. Staffing involves recruiting or selection of personnel for carry out various activities. And the fourth one is directing. It includes guiding and supervising the subordinates to make sure that the efforts are made in the right direction. And the last one is controlling. Controlling functions involves monitoring the activities of the workers and establishing the standards and comparing the actual performance to take the necessary step for any variations. The next slide is about the leader. A leader is a person who influences a group of people towards the achievement of a goal. Mnemonic for this definition about would be 3 P's: person, people and purpose. The first P, that is person, is a leadership, a position of office or an authority. The second P is people. The next requirement is the realization that the goal cannot be achieved alone without the help of others. And the third P, that is purpose. Purpose is a requirement for leadership, is a personal vision. So these are the 3 P's. The next slide is about the qualities of a leader. The most important qualities of a leader include encouraging people, vision, competency, charisma, communication, decision making ability, accountability, commitment and passion towards the goal, and creativity and innovation. The next slide, this is very important. The major difference between manager and the leader. On the basis of meaning, a manager is someone who is responsible for managing the entire organization. The leader is someone who is influences subordinates towards the attainment of the desired goal. On the basis of aims, the manager aims at directing and controlling the people. On the other hand, leaders aims at motivating and inspiring people. On the basis of skills, the basic skill of a manager is quick decision making and with respect to various matters of the organization and coordinating the activities of the management. On the other hand, a leader has the foresightedness. On the basis of people, a manager has subordinates who reports to him about the day-to-day activities, whereas a leader has followers who follows him. On the basis of conflict, a manager tries to avoid the conflicts as he believes it is going to harmful to the growth and performance of the organization. As against, a leader uses conflicts as an asset to provoke the people in doing better than others. On the basis of focus, while a manager focuses on the process of the organization, leader focuses on his people. And finally, we talk about the leadership style. In leadership style, the manager follows the transactional leadership style that involves rewards and punishment for motivating the subordinates. On the other hand, leaders follows transformational leadership style in which the leader employs charisma to inspire the followers in achieving the goal. The next topic, that is leadership theories. In the first leadership theory, about the trait theory of leadership. Trait theory of leadership is to differentiate the leaders from non-leaders by focusing on personal qualities and characteristics. So it is the oldest theory popularized from the time of ancient Greek. The theory identifies the specific personality traits that distinguish leaders from non-leaders. It is based on premise that leaders are born, not made, rather than being developed through learning. This theory is also known as the great man theory because it is based on the set of traits which are common to great men. Next is about the classifications of traits according to the trait theory. So according to trait theory, 6 classifications is there. The first one is intelligence, second is self-confidence, third is honesty and integrity, fourth is desire to lead, fifth one is the job relevant knowledge, and the last one is the physical traits. We'll discuss detailedly. The first one is intelligence. Leaders need to be intelligent enough to gather, synthesize and interpret the large amount of information and to be able to create the visions, solve the problems and make the correct decision. And the second is the self-confidence. Followers look to leaders for an absence of self-doubt. Leaders therefore need to show self-confidence to convince followers of the goals and decisions. And the third category, that is the honesty and integrity. Leaders build a trusting relationship between themselves and followers by being the truthful and by showing high consistency between words and deed. And the fourth one is desire to lead. The leaders have a strong desire to influence and lead others. They demonstrate the willingness to take responsibility. And the fifth classification, that is job relevant knowledge. The effective leaders have a high degree of knowledge about the company, industry and technical matters. In-depth knowledge allows leaders to make well-informed decisions and to understand the implications of those decisions. And the last classification, that is physical traits like age, weight, strength, etc. So these are the 6 traits according to the trait theory of leadership. The next is about the advantages of trait theory. So the major advantages of trait theory is this theory is quite simple. Second one, it helps to separate the leaders from followers. And the third advantage is trait theory provides benchmark for identifying the leaders. In this theory, we can identify the leaders very simply because they provide the benchmarks. So the next slide about the disadvantages of trait theory. There are some fundamental issues with the trait theory. The major drawbacks are, the first one, it is leader-centric and only focuses on the leaders, not on the followers or other any situations. And the second is the findings are subjective. The some findings are subjective, leading to uncertainty in the validity of the approach. And the third disadvantage is focus on physical traits like height, weight, etc. This is another drawback because these factors are related to the situational factors. So these are the major drawbacks or disadvantages of trait theory. The next theory about the contingency theory of leadership. Contingency theory of leadership is a very special kind of approach which states that the success of a leader does not only depend on his abilities. So there are many other factors relating to the work environment, company culture, employee which impact a manager's success in the process of leadership. So we'll discuss about the leadership theory in deep. So let's see the theory. The contingency theory of leadership says that a leader's effectiveness is contingent upon with how his or her leadership style matches to the situation. In this model, the leader must find out what kind of leadership style and situation he or she thrives in. So, according to this theory, there are two styles of leadership. First is task oriented, second is the human relation oriented. The task oriented is also known as task motivated, and the human relation oriented is also known as human relationship oriented. The task oriented refers to the task accomplishment, and the relationship motivation refers to the interpersonal relationship. The next slide is about the core factors of contingency theory. Mainly, three core factors are associated with the contingency theory. The first is the leader-member relation, second is task structure, and the third is the position power. So, first is the leader-member relation. It deals with the general atmosphere of the group and the feelings such as trust, loyalty, and confidence that a group has for its leader. And the second is the task structure. It is related to the task clarity and the means to the task accomplishment. And the third is the position power. It relates to the amount of reward, punishment, authority the leader has over the members of the group. So, these are the three factors determine the favorable of the various situations in organization. Next is about the advantages of contingency theory. Contingency approach is dynamic in nature because it changes according to the situations. It allows managers to change the policies according to the situation. The second one, contingency approach provides options to the employees that helps them to grow and share their ideas to the business. And the third advantage, contingency approach helps the managers to enhance their leadership and decision making skills. So next about the disadvantages of contingency theory. Contingency approach has a complex approach. The suggestions of the approach is very simple, but when it comes to practical, it becomes more complex. And the second disadvantage, reactive in nature. This approach is basically reactive in nature. Sometimes the handling the situation becomes hard for the manager. And the last disadvantage is contingency approach suffers from inadequacy of literature. It is not sufficient to say that a managerial action depends on the situation. Next is about the leadership style. A leadership style is a leader's method of providing directions, implementing plans, and motivating people. So there are many types of leadership styles. So leadership styles are broadly classified in three based on authority retained, entrepreneurial leadership, Likert for style. So based on authority retained are autocratic leadership, democratic leadership, and free reign leadership. On Likert Forstyle further classified into exploitative autocratic, benevolent autocratic, consultative and participative leadership. So the first one we'll discuss about the autocratic leadership style. Autocratic leadership is a management style wherein one person controls all the decisions and takes very little inputs from other group members. So, autocratic leaders make choices or decisions based on their own beliefs and do not involve others for their suggestions or advices. So, the features of autocratic leadership styles are: all the decision making powers are centralized in the leader. Under the autocratic leadership style, all the decision making powers are centralized in the leaders, as with the dictator leaders. The second one, they do not entertain any suggestions or the initiative from the subordinates. The autocratic management has been successful as it provides a strong motivation to managers. And the third feature, that is quick decision making. It permits the quick decision making as only one person decides for the whole group and keeps each decision to himself until he feels it is needed to be shared with the rest of the group. The advantages of autocratic leadership. The main advantages of autocratic leadership styles are: it allows for the fast decisions to be made. In this type of leadership, very less feedback from the various levels of management which must be proceed. That is because there is one person and they are in charge of the all arrangements. This improves the speed of decision because only one person is deciding everything. The second advantage, it improves productivity. Because autocratic leaders are able to move information throughout the organization quickly, there are fewer delays in productivity. And the third advantage, it handles crisis situation effectively. Autocratic leaders are able to handle a crisis situation easily because they are the ones who are in charge. There is a short-term problem. The enterprise of the leader can be used to create a solution. So, next is about the disadvantages of autocratic leadership. The first disadvantage, it often leads to micromanagement because it is the autocratic leader's reputation on the line, not the workers doing the job. Those in this type of position tend to supervise every small detail of the work being done. Many autocratic leaders turn into several micromanagers. And the second disadvantage, it does not offer a sense of professional ownership. Autocratic leaders are in charge and they make this fact known. They get to take all the credits for the work that gets done. That means workers tend to not take ownership of the work they do because there is no incentive to do. And the third disadvantage is it creates a lack of trust. What leads to successful working relationship as an ability to workers to have the trust in their leaders and vice versa. The foundation of the autocratic leadership style is one built on mistrust. So these are the major disadvantages of autocratic leadership style. Next type of leadership is democratic leadership style. Democratic leadership style is another type of leadership style in which members of the group take a more participative role in the decision making process. It is also known as the participative leadership or shared leadership. So, the democratic leadership style favors decision making by the group. The decisions of the democratic leaders are not unilateral as with the autocrat because they arise from the consultation with the group members and participation by them. Next is about the features of democratic leadership style. The first one is distribution of responsibility. A manager that leads the democratically will distribute the responsibility among his group to facilitate the participation to the decision making. And the second one is empowering group members. Leaders must empower their members so that the members can accomplish their responsibilities. And the third one is aiding group decision or making process. A major role of a democratic leader is to ensure democratic deliberates in making group decision. So next is about the advantages of democratic leadership style. So the major advantages are democratic leadership in the context of managing an organization has some advantages and disadvantages also. Let's take about the some of the advantages of democratic leadership style. It encourages the creativity. The democratic leadership style is more of a hands-off approach. Instead of the micromanaging the situation, leaders use this style to encourage the individualized creativity. And second is it improves the job satisfaction. When the team members feels like they have an equal role in running the team, then there is a sense of empowerment that comes with that responsibility. When there is empowerment in the workplace, there is a naturally high rate of job satisfaction. And the third is anyone can practice. So it is a leadership style that anyone can practice in democratic leadership style. Any leaders in any industry has opportunity to implement the democratic leadership style. Even leaders who don't use this style naturally can begin to use its techniques to shift their perspectives over time. Next is about the disadvantages of democratic leadership style. The first disadvantage, the democratic leadership style requires extra time to implement a decision. Democratic leaders can quickly increase the levels of morale other than by soliciting the ideas, opinion from the members. The only problem with this approach is that you can take the significant amount of time to complete because there are a large number of direct reports involved in the decision making process. So the second is a second disadvantage, that is the democratic style encourages no one to take the responsibility for the bad ideas. Because everyone is involved in the decision making process with the democratic leadership style, then it encourages not one to take the responsibility should a failure occur. And the third is that this leadership style is ineffective during the crisis situation. The democratic leadership style works well when there is enough time to develop an informational database from an entire team of the indirect reports. If an organization is facing an emerging situation, then the time to take to solicit the feedback from the each workers become the hindrance because it increases the delay of the resources implementation. So these are the major advantages and disadvantages of democratic leadership style. The next type of leadership style is laissez-faire or free-rein leadership style. According to this style, in which leaders are hands-off and allow group members to make the decisions. The major characteristics of free-rein styles are complete freedom for followers to make decisions. Second, leader provide the tools and resources needed. And the third is group members are expected to solve the problems on their own path. And the fourth one, power is handed over the followers, yet leaders still take the responsibility for the group's decisions and actions. And the last one, it can be very useful in business where creative ideas are important. The next is about the advantages of free range style. The first advantage, that is, it gives the employees a lot of room to grow because the leadership is so hands off. The employees have a chance to be hands on. This environment facilitates growth and development. The second advantage, that is faster decision making. In some management style, there are several approval steps which can be frustrating and affect productivity. Employees under the laissez-faire leadership have the autonomy to make their own decisions. And the third advantage, that is creates a high level of job satisfaction. With the added autonomy, employees feel like they are in charge of and one masters of their futures. So these are the important advantages of free range style. Next is about the disadvantages of free range style. The first one, the leader may be seen to be indifferent. And the second, undefined roles within a team. And the last disadvantage, loss of accountability. So the next type of leadership style, that is entrepreneurial leadership style. Entrepreneurial leadership is a process through which an entrepreneur is able to influence employees to achieve the objectives of the organization. An entrepreneur leader will productively identify the opportunities to gain the advantage through creativities, innovations, and market understanding, and then the point to the customer. The next is about the elements of entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurial leadership include the following elements. First one, seeking self-improvement. A great leader always seeks to become even better. The second is processing technical skills. While the leader may not need to have the greatest technical skills in their organization, they need to be savvy enough to lead the team. And the third element, that is accepting responsibility for actions. Leaders and companies always make mistakes. The great leaders don't place blame on others. And the fourth one, that is making decisions. Good leaders must make good and timely decisions. And the fifth element, that is being a role model. A leader must set an example to employees and guide them to excel. So these are the major elements of entrepreneurial leadership skill. The next topic, that is Likert for management leadership style. Francis Likert identified the four main styles of leadership, in particular around the decision making and the degree to which people are involved in the decision. So Likert's four management leadership styles are: the first one is exploitative or authoritative leadership style. Second, benevolent autocratic leadership style. The third is consultative leadership style. And the last one is democratic leadership style. So we will discuss the detail in four styles. The first one is exploitative or authoritative leadership style. In this style, the manager has no confidence or trust in subordinates. Subordinates feel no freedom to discuss things about the job with their superior. So the second type, that is benevolent autocratic leadership style. In benevolent autocratic leadership style, the manager has confidence and trust in subordinates, motivates with rewards and some punishments. And the third type, that is consultative leadership style. The consultative leadership style indicates that manager has substantial but not complete confidence and trust in subordinates, but still wishes to keep control of decisions. And the fourth type, that is democratic leadership style. In the democratic leadership style, the manager has complete confidence and trust in subordinates and allows them direct equal participation in decision making. So the next topic, there are two theories, transactional and transformational leadership. So we will discuss about the first is transactional leadership style. Transactional leadership is defined as the influence of a leader towards the subordinates using rewards and punishment as a form of motivational medium. So, the transactional leadership is also known as managerial leadership. In this leadership style, where the executive relies on rewards and punishments to achieve the optimal job performance from his or her subordinates. So, this slide is about the characteristics of transactional leaders. So, there are several characteristics of transactional leadership style. So, the major characteristics are: first one, supervise and give the direction. Supervision is the most important element in the functioning of management. Transactional leadership always focuses on the performance of each employee. The second characteristic, that is practicality. The transactional leaders adhere more to realism over idealism. The transactional leaders work by considering all the realistic constraints. So the third characteristics required a structured environment. Transactional leadership is best suited in a well-organized, structured working environment. Fourth is tends to inflexibility. The transactional leaders impose their own orders and instructions on their employees. There is no creativity and innovation in this leadership style. And the next one, reward performance. The term transactional refers to the exchange of rewards for performance. The transactional leaders give reward in terms of incentives for their performance. So these are the major characteristics of transactional leaders. So the next slide is about the advantages of transactional leaders. First one, it can effectively motivate team members to maximize productivity. People stay employed because there is a reward in doing so that they find to be valuable. And the second advantage, it eliminates confusion within the chain of command. A transactional leadership style creates a clear chain of command that is easily recognized by the entire team. So the third advantage, it is a simple process to implement. The transactional leadership is straightforward and simple. It does not require a manager to have extensive training or specific personal leadership traits. The next one, it creates a system that is easily to follow. The team members within a transactional environment can quickly implement the instructions they are given. And the next advantage, it allows workers to choose the rewards they want to achieve. In the typical transactional environment, the workers are allowed to choose which rewards they value the most. So, these are the major advantages of transactional leadership. So, the next slide is about the disadvantages of transactional leadership. The major disadvantages are: the first one, it creates more followers than leaders. The companies can struggle when they focus on transactional leadership above anything else. If the leaders leave the company, then the rest of the team may not know how to complete their next assignment, because the transactional leadership puts all the leadership responsibilities in the hands of the team leader. The second one, not suitable for certain leadership situations. One of the major weaknesses or the disadvantages of transactional leadership is that it is inflexible. And the third one, it limits the amount of innovation that is achievable. Transactional leaders are rigid and unyielding. They don't bend the value because the rules are there for a good reason. Even if that reason is not known to them, this attitude limits the innovation because team members stay focused on assigned tasks only. So these are the disadvantages of transactional leaders. The next theory, that is transformational leadership. Transformational leadership is a leadership style in which leaders encourage, inspire, and motivate employees to innovate and create changes that will help grow and shape the future success of the company. So, major characteristics of transformational leadership are: first one, inspirational; second is mobilization; third is the conflict resolution. Inspirational context, transformational leaderships are inspirational in that the leader can inspire workers to find the better ways of achieving goals. It should be a mobilization because leadership can mobilize people into groups that can get work done and morale. And the last characteristic, that is conflict resolution. Transformational leaders are good at the conflict resolution. So, the next is about the advantages of transformational leadership. The major advantages are: first one, excellent at communicating new ideas; second, good and balanced short term visions and long term goals also; and third one, they have integrity and high emotional intelligence, that is empathy with others. And the next is experience building and strong conditions and establishing mutual trust. So these are the advantages of transformational leadership. And the next is about the disadvantages of transformational leadership. So disadvantages are: first one, ineffective in initial stage or other situations, and second is bad fit in the bureaucratic situations. So these are the disadvantages of transformational leadership. So students, this brings to the end of the session. I covered the most of the areas in the 6th module. I hope find the topics very useful. Thank you.